Right, g'day, hi, welcome. What a marvelous day so far. I haven't seen Marvin in a couple of days. Don't know where the little bugger is. He's not in this tree, so he must be in the attic, I guess. He did leave a black walnut. He snuck a black walnut in here. That he did do. Left a huge mess on my deck. He's been in the peanut butter can a couple of times, but the peanut butter is frozen. So I guess he gets a little bit at a time. Um, yeah, so is that. Gotta watch out. Marvin comes through the door too. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it. It was Matt there did the East Coast Canadian. He did he sent me the Here's Marvin one there. And I was just like, oh, I got him. I didn't know I could download them. So I hope he doesn't mind me posting them. But it's like I looked at it. Beaver rat. I don't know what you guys thought of beaver rat. That like if that was in my cupboard, yeah, I would die of fright. Like it looks like a beaver, but the tail looks like a rat. That's why I call it beaver rat. But it's the look on my face like that looks like me, but it doesn't look like me. It's the AI's. We're gonna die. AI is gonna kill us. Yeah, they're gonna kill us with beaver rats. Yeah, but I thought the Here's Marvin one was really funny. Although I think he was a gray squirrel instead of a red squirrel, though. That's all. Maybe he's an imposter, maybe not. Yeah, but he saw us like a hole through my door, and he comes in, like, here's Marvin. Yeah, that's pretty much how he is. See, like, there's two types of Marvins, right? There's reality Marvin and like fantasy Marvin, right? So fantasy Marvin is what you guys get to see. I got to see like Marvin the jerk that leaves like a mess everywhere. That little bugger. The squirrels have found my dad's stash of black walnuts. I saw them this morning. I did a little late coming down here. I worked with my buddy yesterday at the school, and then by the time I got back home, it was like I came down here for like a bit. Started making videos for my bit shoot, but again, looks like I'd have to do another take. It would be like the eighth take. It's just to get it right, right? And it's holding me back on my BitChute videos, and I know you guys have been waiting for some BitChute videos. Yeah. But no, this morning, like, or yesterday, when Paul came up the driveway, he said there was a branch in my driveway. He got out and he threw it off the side, but it was halfway up the hill, and he had to put it 4x4 to get up the rest of the hill. Because, like, our hill, it's not that steep, but it's like if you stop on it, you can't start unless you got 4x4, right? Even with front wheel drive, sometimes you'll spin out. It's right in the midsection, so you got to kind of keep your speed up through the midsection, right? Anyway, it had snowed and it was like freezing rain and stuff like that the night before. So all the branches are down. So today I grabbed the pole arm chainsaw. My dad was watching me run around up and down the driveway, just whoop, 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 whoop. He's like, oh, that's better. Because like you come down the road, it's like the branches hitting the top of the trucks, all that stuff. But now you could, with the weight on the branches, you could see which ones are the problem branches, so you don't have to cut as much, right? So like that only took about 5 minutes. Threw in some wood up there. We still got lots of wood in the basement up there, but it takes time to dry. So I usually like to have, throw in as much as I can. Probably still got about another 3 or 4 cord of wood outside. I'd like to get it all in, and then I'm good for the winter up there. Down here, it's really starting to dry out because with the baseboard heaters on, like the humidity's at like 51 right now. So it's like my hands are all dried out, everything like that. So yeah, summertime's like 60% humidity in here. Wintertime's gonna be like 50 some odd percent. It's probably like 45% humidity, but like middle of January, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to actually like just put a bucket of water on the stove and start boiling it or something there just to keep the moisture on, moisture in. But dryer's a little bit better because dryer's easier to heat. It's kind of bad for the instruments because then things shrink up too much, Oh, that's right, it's Monday. There goes the recycling. That's right, it's Monday. I am so screwed up now because I'm supposed to be working right now, but I'm not working because it's the wintertime and I'm off. But I did a little job this morning. but it was for myself, not somebody else. So now I'm all screwed up. These are the things that like this is vexes me so. But the good news, okay, that's bin number 11 going out. So I wonder what my cousin's going to be thinking. See like a toboggan coming out of the recycling bin. Like, what the fuck? That's what I was talking to you. You're clearing that place out, aren't you? I said, oh yeah. I'm sure I got the heaviest bins like in the next like 3 towns. Like it's like when I pack those bins, I pack them. But the recycle bin was full to the top, but it wasn't packed. And there's really not that much more recycling in the woodshed. There's probably some, probably, but it's like if I'm lucky, there's not even a bin left of recycling in there. But if there is, between that and the barns, like I'm in the barns there now, and yeah, so like that's good. Like that's really good. So another probably 5 or 6 bins, another 5 6 weeks. Probably I'll be have everything that can go in the bins, garbage or recycling, done before next year. Like it's like that's crazy. So that means I can really move on to other projects. However, yesterday not yesterday, the day before, when I went to move my wheelbarrow, I put those cinder blocks in the wheelbarrow, and it had rained a lot, and so the whole inside of the wheelbarrow was like a big block of ice. When I went to lift it, cracked the handle. It's like, oh. So I was going to bring that wheelbarrow up home to do the wood with it, but there's a shitty wheelbarrow up there, so I'll have to fix that handle in the spring. Is what it is. But the fact that I can start clearing out the barns, if I can get all the barns cleared out by January, that makes a real nice spring, easy spring for me. You know what I mean? Because like pretty much anything that I want to do, my aunts, my uncles, my dad, they're like, yeah, just do whatever you want. Do whatever you want down here. Because like they know I'm cleaning it up and all that. And like, I'm gonna cut down. You mind if I cut down this tree? Cut down this. Do whatever you want. Because my brother couldn't do those things, right? Like he didn't have the tools, the chainsaws and stuff like that. But I do have that tree that I got to deal with there. I haven't contacted. I want to look at it a few more times before I sent it out to because it's not going to go anywhere, right? It's not really hurting the trailer. I mean, that trailer's pretty done to begin with, but it's not hurting it so bad that it's like if I wait a week or so to get a hold of it. But like I want to wait till there's a bit of a sunny day and I grab, even if I have to borrow my dad's truck or grab a ladder here, just enough so I can see what's really on the roof and how I'm going to cut it. I was thinking about it last night. Like sometimes you have to stare at a tree or a problem tree a little bit just to kind of, okay, what plan of action am I going to take? If it wasn't barber chaired, it would be a really easy job. But it's barber chaired, so that means when I cut it from the roof side, you can't cut it from the butt side because, well, you're asking for death. That way, especially when the butt of it's this big, right? It's a big tree. It's a short tree, but it's a big tree. But the thing is that if I cut it this way with it, with the butt of the tree like this, when it comes down, it's going to do this, right? It might go through the wall of the trailer because, like I say, the trailer's it's an old trailer, right? And I don't want that. So it's going to be a tricky thing. So I have to let my client know that it's on there. And then I got to make a decision whether I can actually take care of it or if she's going to have to get, somebody else, right? Because anybody can cut the tree. Cutting the tree is no problem. But cut the tree without destroying the trailer. There now you're talking about skills, right? Skills which I possess, but like I might need some extra tooling. I had a couple of really cool ideas. That might work and would make life really easy for me. But it's more, I just don't want it to go into the trailer, right? So, because as soon as I detach it from the roof, it's going to go like this because of the, it's most likely, like maybe I get lucky and it does that, but it's 50-50, right? So if the rest of the log, I mean, you got like 4,000 pounds of tree that, against the, shitty old fashioned trailer. Like, I mean, that's my money's on the tree, right? That's going to do damage. So it's like, yeah. And if you cut it at the butt, well, then all the weight goes onto the roof and crushes the roof. So, and, it could roll, it can kick back and do all these fun things that get you dead, right? So, I know how to cut it. I just got to know what sequence I'm going to use. I even thought about a way of propping it up a bit, uh, you know, just so it doesn't fall. Because if I can just detach it from the roof and it's still like I was thinking of making, like just getting a couple of 2x4s or whatever, maybe three of them, go down the tree, holding like this. So when I cut, it doesn't just fall. It just kind of holds it there. It'll hold itself against its own weight, kind of thing. And then just cut it back, cut it back, cut it back, cut it back. And once I'm back, say about 5 feet, I know I can just let the tree drop or hang on the branches that are still out or whatever. And then it's easy peasy from there. It's just that first cut, not allowing that tree to drop into the trailer because like it will. It's a possibility. It just might come down like that. But my hunch is that it's going to go like this, just because of the sheer weight of it, right? Like you only got like that much bark and whatever strip this big that's kind of already angled like this with the butt of the tree because it snapped, right? So it's most likely going to do that. Uh, and even if it doesn't do that, it still might hinge enough that the won't hit the top of the trailer. Like you tell it's here, but by the time it gets here, it's resting against the wall of the trailer and creating all kinds of problems there. It might just rest there. That's a good possibility too, but it might go through too. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, just alleviate that problem altogether. Um, the thing is that the tree is like 10 feet in the air, right? So it's on one end, it's maybe about 3 or 4 feet in the air, but that's still 3 or 4 feet in the air, and you're not, easy peasy if you don't care what it's dropping on. But I'm trying to save the trailer because it's, like they're probably going to have, I don't know what they're going to do with that property, but like they're going to have to sell it for dirt cheap. She paid it way too much for it. And that trailer is really no good. Like wouldn't want to live in there or nothing. So she told me she wanted to sell it, and I told her neighbors that okay, this is what you paid for it or whatever. You know, they'd be the only people that would be worthwhile buying it would be myself, just to extend the family land. That's it. But it's on the other side. I can't do nothing. It's just land for the sake of land at that point. And then Harold, who's the neighbor to her, because she's technically my neighbor, right? Like she's like maybe closer to my cousin, but like it's on the other side of the creek. It's us, and now she's on the other side of the creek, right? But like for the money she's going to want for it, it's like Wade. I think they charged her 15,000. She bought it for 15,000, and it's like what maybe a little bit more than an eighth of an acre. Like it's not very big, and she wants to sell it for about 13.5, right? But I don't think she's going to get more than 5 for it at the best, just because you can't build a house on it. It's too close to the water and it's too close to the highway. The only thing you do is just put another trailer on there, and even at that, if you move that trailer, there might be some new buy. Like that trailer's been there before I was even born. That trailer's really really old, right? And when Henry Bauer had it, he was a guy from Pennsylvania. He bought it, and that's where he would stay when he'd come up. Right? Sometimes he'd stay at our place. Sometimes I miss old Henry. God rest him. He had a big gray beard down to here. He every time he'd come up from Pennsylvania, he'd bring me a trapping stuff or a hunting knife or. Oh yeah, he was a drunk. He was a drunk, but he was a neat old guy. He was a good bullshitter, but he was neat to have around. So he'd come and he'd stay like a week with us, a week with somebody else, a week with somebody else, and then he'd head back to Pennsylvania. And then he had that trailer, and he eventually when he got too sick, he sold it to some other Americans that had it. It was PJ's daughter that had it, but they were going to try to fix it up for her, but then they just nah, it's too far gone, like it's too moldy, whatever. So then I think what happened is they sold it to Amy, who has it now, but they soaked her on it, like she paid way too much, but then she probably doesn't know the value of things. You know what I mean? Because there's no way, like a landlocked piece of property. that you can't really do anything with, because like you can't build anything on it because you're too close to the creek and you're too close to the road, right? So it's like, what's that property worth? It's just a piece of property that doesn't have, like, other than parking a car on it, like you can't really do anything with it, right? So you can put the trailer on it, but that's about it. So yeah, that's where that. But that said, it's still her property, still her trailer, and like the trailer itself is not worth anything. But if it's still functioning, like I see your dad up here once in a while, and I'll talk, stop in, shoot the shit with him. Uh, but like there's, like it's there. There's not much they can do with it. Um, and that third tree, like I was expecting that first tree to go down, wasn't it? That other tree really kind of caught me off guard. I didn't realize that one was as bad as it was. But the third tree, which is not true, the beavers haven't gotten it yet. But that one will be on the highway. Like, if they're lucky, when it comes down, it gets basically caught by the power lines, right? Which I think it will, but it might just snap and just go straight through the tree. Like, that's a big freaking, like, the base of it is this big, right? So, like, I mean, it's like it's over 2 feet. Like, those are some big trees. Now, the other upside too is if I do that job, obviously, I don't know what she'd want to do with the wood, but my hunch is that it's not like they can really burn it there. There's no place to really put a viable fire pit safely. So I'd have to haul the wood away, which, it's poplar, it's a tree. There's two of them there, right there. There's probably about 2 3/4 worth of wood right there. I'll get the other one in the spring because right now, like, it's sitting on the ground. It's probably, it's going to be frozen, whatever. So for me, if I could just get it down off the roof, I'll cut up the rest of it in the spring. That's, when it's easier on the saw, right? And then I got myself about 2/4 of wood, and I'll take that away for cost of labor and a bit of fuel for for maybe my dad's truck or whatever. I'll cut it all up, and it might be about 2 hours of work or whatever. See if she'll go for that. She might say, "Oh no, I just leave it. I don't care." What I mean. Like, so you don't take liberties on stuff like that at all. But I got to, before I let her know about it. I want to look at it really well. Either today or not today, but like tomorrow or Thursday. Grab the ladder, go, get up on the roof, not on the roof, but like just enough to see. Okay, well, can I cut from here? Can I do this? You know, I got to see what my options are, because it really comes down to one cut. Getting that first cut right. You get that first cut right, everything else is easy peasy. Because, like, even though, like, hey, this is gonna sound weird, the hardest trees for me to do are the ones that are just vertically straight, perfectly up and down. Because everything I cut is always either on an angle like this or twizzled like a freaking like a piece of licorice. You know what I mean? Like, I cut Manitoba maples, so I'm never doing straight cuts. So like like I'm used to like really screwed up, or there's a back lean on it going exactly the direction I don't want it to go. But like, like, I know what I'm capable of doing with what I have. I basically have the saw and stuff like that. But like next year, like, come along, stuff like that, so that I could get the trees with the back leans and stuff like that. You know, the the trees that I normally do, that I normally clean up, are usually trees that are not tight to a house, let alone ones on a house. But in this case, it's like it's on the house. But if I make the cut right, like, it's already the tree's already on the house, but most of the weight's held by the stump. So that's kind of a good thing, and it's not in the hydro wires. So I also gotta check that, because if it's in the hydro wires, then it's like, okay. And can I get on the roof? Like, that roof is uh I'm not sure if it's shingles or tin on there. I never really paid attention to that. If it's tin, probably going to be okay. But if it's shingles, could be pretty. I got to see how soft the roof is, right? So I can just cut things up and what have you. Um, yeah, so there's a few things I can do. Quite a few things I can do, tricks wise. But to just get the tree to come down, that's the hard part. That is the hard part. And to get it to come down without it rolling, like once I detach from the roof, the other danger is that the tree will roll with the branch, pogo off branches and start rolling, right? So one of the things is if I could support the tree with a couple of two by fours, up high, so that when it comes down, it just holds there. Then I can just kind of, okay, I'll use the ladder, maybe cut the first, 10 feet down and then move down again, cut that. And then, okay, after that, it's like, okay, get the sledgehammer, knock the thing, let it come down to the ground and just cut it up that way. That's probably the easiest way to do it. It'd be time consuming, but it'd be the safest and easiest way, you know. So, and then, takes what it takes, make a little bit of money. So that would be good. That would be good. But I gotta give her that decision pretty soon. Uh, but I figured I'll look at it and just let her know rather than saying, okay, well, here's the deal. If the tree's on there, I got to go look at it and see if I can do it or not. Well, I'll have that answer for when I email her the first time. That way, it's she's not waiting to know whether I can do it or not, so she can take action on her end should she choose to. Yeah, because like if I do it, it'll be a lot cheaper than if she has to get into an arborist. You get an arborist in there, and you are going to be paying crazy money. That's why like when I tell people, like I said here, I'm good with a chainsaw, but I also know what I can't do, and I hate to tell people no, because I know I'm competitively priced. Like I'm going to charge her, for that type of job. The tree's already down, so it's more of cutting up. So that one, if I had to if I have to take down that third tree, the only way to do that is climb it and top it and take it down in pieces that way. That'd be really expensive. That'd be thousands of dollars for me to do that. And at some point, she might have to do that because if not, that tree's gonna come down at some point if the beavers get at it, right? I don't think they have yet, but the other two trees, the beavers have taken down. Well, I think it's the wind that more took it down, but the beavers have chewed it. That's what beavers do, is they chew, like, say, 3/4 away or a quarter of the way or halfway through the tree, and they just wait till the wind takes it down, right? And whatever. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Should be interesting. No matter what happens there, like if I do it, should be an interesting little challenge. Anyway, it's just a matter of getting set up well enough and doing it like that. So, see, if I had a lot of come-alongs, if the roof wasn't too bad, I could see if I could actually just pull, just pull it off the roof, and then cut it up. Yeah. So, anyway, that's kind of what's going on there, and I got to kind of figure that one out. And yeah, so, but next to that, today I'm going to be recording Pinto. I already started. The other thing I got to do down here, two things I got to do, is clean up Marvin's mess on my freaking veranda. I guess I got to go get my recycling bin again and start loading it up again. I'll do that tomorrow. Because I got 2 weeks before the next recycling bin goes out. So, yeah, bin number 11 just went out. So 11 bins of trash has been taken out of here since I moved in here. So 11, and I mean packed bins. Not to mention the amount of stuff I burnt. Wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. But the good news is that I think I'm ahead of schedule on a lot of stuff I want to do. I still got to do a major cleanup in the basement. I'm going to also see if I can start the Operation Pine Sol in here today. If I just do like half a room or whatever, and then let it dry, then do the other half of the room, whatever. By the end of, I don't know how much work I'm going to have each week, but my hunch is I'm going to be probably have about maybe not 3 full days of work, but 3 days to work. It depends on how much my buddy's going to need me at the school because on Sundays I help him out there if I can. So if that's the case, I might be helping him a couple of times this week coming. But it depends what, like, because obviously I told him, like, don't put yourself out for me. You got to make money too. But if he needs the help on the Sunday, I don't mind. Because if I do that till spring, it's just, it's an indoor job. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's work, but it's an indoor job and it's a little extra money. And then my other client, well, I've got another 4 or 5 weeks with her, and then she's gone for the winter. And I just watched the place over the winter. So, and then one of the other clients that's just in the middle of town. For her, it's mainly to just keep the ice off the roof. So I'm gonna go look at it again tomorrow. And why do I keep thinking today's Tuesday? I am so screwed up. It's Monday. But anyway, yeah. So the good news is I might have enough money coming in throughout the winter. Maybe not to get ahead, but enough that I don't burn through my savings too quickly. That would be good because I still got to do my Christmas shopping. Still got to find a vehicle, and what have you. But no, I guess pretty much my week is going to be spent just concentrating on this. So probably by the end of Thursday on, I might be starting to like drop a bunch of trees around here, make my brush piles, burn them. Like the idea is so that in springtime I don't have to, like I could just every brush pile I move in the springtime I don't have to deal with, and stuff isn't going to grow up underneath it and make, like I'll be able to trim it right away. Trim around the barns, and there's a lot of trees that fall around the barns, and they're all going to be tricky. They're all going to be tricky. But get them now while they're still gettable, because the bigger the trees get, the harder they are to deal with when they're close to buildings and stuff like that. And there's a lot in there. There's probably about 10 cord of wood that I'm going to be, well, probably way more than 10 cord of wood. I'm probably going to be cutting probably between 50 and 20 cord of wood. I have a hunch that it's going to be about, it doesn't look like there's that much, but when you start adding up all those big branches, all those Manitoba maples, especially the big ones, there's some there that's like, oh shit, that thing's monstrous. The one going across the creek, I have to figure out how I'm going to deal with that one. So that chainsaw, I still got to do the 1 year review on the chainsaws. I'll probably do that maybe Friday or something like that. If you're looking for an MS400, I can't recommend that saw enough. It is a great saw. It's not the most powerful thing, but it is a pretty damn good saw. It's easy to work with. It's like a 261 on steroids. It's the best way to describe it. It works, and it's light enough you can work with it all day. And I've done enough work with it now that I know what it's capable of doing and not doing. It's a great saw, fantastic saw. I have it up at the house right now just because I was, people come and pick me up. I got like my polearm chainsaw, and the chainsaw is up there and all that, because I'm not going to plow the yard this year. I'm just going to leave the yard unplowed, because to plow it for the 3 people that are going to visit me this winter, you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense to do that, to spend, hundreds of dollars getting it plowed. Now, if I get a vehicle, okay, maybe I'll open it up. I'll ask my buddy if he could bring his snowblower over. I'll pay him whatever, and we'll just do a day opening it up, and then I'll get the plow guy after that. But that's only if that's required, right? So I might not find a vehicle for a while yet. It's been a minute since when did that vehicle break down? What, June? So it's almost been 6 months without a vehicle. Uh, I'm not stressed out about it or anything like that. The first time you have to do that, yeah, it's really stressing not having a vehicle, demoralizing, whatever. But you just gotta pace yourself with it. It's like, okay, well, it is what it is. Yes, it's a hit to your independence. People got to come and pick you up. It can cost you some jobs. That's true. But it's also is what it is. You can't rush it. It's not really up to you. When the right vehicle pops up, it's when the vehicle pops up. So I would, well, are you gonna, when are you gonna buy a vehicle? As soon as one pops up, you know what I mean. Like it's not like if it was up to me, I'd have the vehicle the very next day, right? But the vehicle has to be there for you to get, and you have to have the budget to get it, right? So remember, no matter how much you save up, you have to put at least 500 to 1,000 aside for operational costs, right? So that's a part of your budget. So your budget is never as big as you think. It's because that's what happened when I bought Thunder, the blue truck, the '06 Ram, is that I didn't have the money for the plate and the insurance and all that. So when I got it, like it was really like I wiped myself out, economically, and that hurt me for like months. Like it took about a year to recover from that, right? Just because of how I did it. I spent all my budget on the vehicle, where if I would have at least just bought just, left enough to get the vehicle on the road, it wouldn't have hurt me so much. And that winter was like the hardest winter. It was like I had like barely any money. I made just enough money each month just to barely pay my living expenses. Like it was so on the wire. It was very, 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 very tough. And I said, no, can't do that again. That's why I divide my money up. So that, yes, if I put every cent I have onto a vehicle, I could probably buy a pretty good vehicle, within the week. But then I have no money coming in hardly at all. I won't be able to pay my bills. I'll be, if you ask yourself, well, what's more of a burden on people? Them having to pick you up once in a while, or not having money and them having to pay for you, and well, they don't have to pay for you. That's the thing, but usually people help each other out. And the last thing you want is to owe money to people, not being able to pay them back. I never borrow money from people. I just never do it. I'll do without. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, we don't mind. I know you don't mind, but I mind because I know I can't pay you back. You know what I mean? That's why I don't take out big loans and stuff. That's why I don't do payments on vehicles, because it's just I go from making good money to nothing. And there's just no guarantees. There's no such thing as job security to begin with, but there's just no guarantees that I'm going to be able to, be able to afford the payments, right? And that's the kicker. If you can't afford the payments, don't go into debt. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at about that. And then I'm going to get some work done, and then do some recording, do some mopping. I got to bring the vacuum back. I meant to bring it back about a couple of days ago. I've had it for about a week, so I did all the vacuuming. So like at least that part, well on this floor anyway. But I got to bring it back. But I was waiting for, and I forgot to do it. I was waiting for my garbage to go out, and I was going to empty the vacuum in that. But the problem is I filled it up again, forgot to empty the vacuum. So now I got to empty the vacuum into a garbage bag. Next week, put it out. Oh, yeah. Anyway, there we go.